Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the late night talk with Romantic Developer. It's our episode number 157. And let's verify if it started on my phone. It's showing it's live. Cool. And I could hear something. So, okay. Test succeed. And everyone, when tests succeed, it's really cool. If you are a developer, you will double me with that. Okay, so welcome, and today we will look into several topics. First of all, as usual, we're starting with some personal reflections and and latest news we could look into. Most probably we need to switch to writing, some of the kind of chatbot for helping us with the questions. Right now it's not content, it would be not copyrights, it would be community. Okay. Yeah, the only things I haven't replied, it's happened multiple weeks ago, so if I'll see if something I couldn't reply, I don't see anything. So right now I don't have any new comments from you which I haven't replied, so we are free to jump into whatever we want. And during the last few days I had a strange feeling that we, Earthlings, humanity, just moving not into the right direction. Of course, in terms of defining our future. And I'm not talking about some bright initiatives from people like Elon Musk or from Trump administration. I'm talking about it because I live in United States, and of course it would be pretty I'm pretty involved in all of those. But also I'm looking at situation like how it could say it hotspots on the surface of the earth, and of course today it would be Russia-Ukraine conflict and Syria situation. Why I couldn't exactly call Russia-Ukraine war? Because no country declared a war. Russia called it I forget how it's called. It's some operation. I remember acronym in Ukrainian and Russian, it's SVO, but I don't remember exactly how to translate it. But okay, it's fine. Anyway, they call it some kind of operation, and for Ukraine, of course, unofficially, all called it a war because it's of course reminds of war, but at the same time it's not officially declared because of some help from some funds wouldn't be granted for countries which are in state of war, so they never declared the war, but they did everything else which comes with war. So they prohibit any exit from country to all men from 18 to 60, except if they go into some exception categories like having a lot of kids, or they are completely disabled persons which couldn't serve in any conditions and so on and so on. But I'm not talking about it. It's another, it's another, I couldn't say lie, but people just they name the very similar things completely differently because of some, let's say, context. If it's good for them, they call it one name. If it's bad for them, they call it different name. And I see it a lot, especially recently. I could distinguish it a lot. For example, if in Syria, let's say, Israel occupied some territories and Turkey occupied some territories, and they call it creating a democratic buffer to protect their people. When Russia did something similar, everyone say, oh, they took part of independent country. When Kosovo declared some kind of independence from Belgrade, they call it, oh, people want to define their own future and we will support them with that. When similar things did people from some regions of Ukraine which don't want to follow lead of new, not so well chosen government, it's called, okay, of course they are influenced by Russia. Ukraine is independent country, you couldn't do that, and and so on and so on. So it's a word of some lie, and of course it always been, but now that become too much. It's become too much because even in time of dictators and some kings and royal families, of course there are multiple bad things happened, awful things happened, but at least people call them as they are. If people couldn't negotiate between themselves, or like when leaders couldn't negotiate, they declare a war, and it was a war, and everyone understands that why are they fighting for. Maybe it's not worth the war, of course. In most cases, war are not worthy, but at least it was at least some truth. Of course, not always for people, but at least on that high level, it was some level of truth. And now it's all level of lies everywhere. It's unbelievable level right now. So okay, and even again, I won't say about something else. Looking at all that level of lies and everything else, I see that there are multiple forces in this world actually don't want nice things to happen, like what I call nice things, and when people agreed on like stop the war at least for some period of time, for the Christmas, let's say that. And it was several negotiators, of course, which let's say Trump bless that negotiator like Orban to bring at least some temporary peace, maybe for one day, maybe for a few days, between those countries, between Ukraine and Russia. And we see like many people, many important people saying that no, it shouldn't happen. Someone could use that time for their own good. I mean, everyone can use, or I mean, both countries can use, but we are talking about people who are at front line, who are dying every day, and that they will have at least one day when they can live and enjoy a holiday, etc. So something which was possible even during World War First, not possible during not declared war between Ukraine and Russia, and mostly because multiple world leaders, and not leaders, just important persons like Blinken, like of course, yeah, it's President Zelensky of Ukraine, and some European leaders also say, no, 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 it's not what it should happen. Ukraine shouldn't stop, they shouldn't continue to fight. No one asks, no one think what the actual people do, what those people, because of which that war not ended a lot of years ago, still fighting, what they really want. And again, I'm reading some news about what people say and about what people are saying about the future, what people saying about the possible negotiations, etc., etc. And of course, I see that some people saying very logical things, that we need to stop fighting, we need to start negotiation, we need to try to solve some problems, some questions, like just stop where we are at the moment, just stop and start talking and start defining if we want to continue or not, what it will be look like, etc., etc., etc. And of course, multiple people doesn't want to stop because, yeah, as I said, because if we stop, it will never be like before, but it will never be like before even if they don't stop. Every minute they not stopping, the more people die, the more territories Ukraine is losing, and so on and so on. But they don't want to stop, not because of people, not because of territories. They don't want just to stop, because I believe a lot of people are actually interested in that war to continue, because they making money, they increase their influence, and so on and so on. And yeah, no one actually thinks about people, and yeah, it's very, very pity. And looking at all of that, looking at all other news and media which come in, which where one people demonize other people, like for example Reuters demonize Elon Musk. It recent news. Maybe it's, I mean, maybe it's fake, but yeah, I'll look in the news later. Yeah, it's why we need some chatbot to bring us most recent news and maybe have ability to communicate with us about those news. So yeah, so what I see is that people just go straight. Again, leaders are following straight paths of war, escalation of war, escalation. They're not trying to find any point of negotiations. They try to find points of escalations, and of course it's very bad, and it's moving our world to some big war, after which I don't know how many people will survive. And we lost a lot of things we developed, we created. We lost a lot of things which our civilization achieved. Of course, maybe those people think that they could survive that in some bunkers under the earth, under the ground, yeah, underground bunkers. But yeah, I'm not sure. From one side, of course, it's funny to have this, to have such future, post-apocalypse future. From other side, it's not funny at all. Okay. So sorry, looks like I did a pretty big leap into the situation, into possible future and everything. But what I want to say is that, yeah, at this moment of time, I don't know who can stop that. There are no person in the world who could stop it. Of course, some people have some influence, like Donald Trump, which at least proclaims that he wants to stop this war and other wars, but there are so many people who say different, opposite, that I'm not sure about what will happen next. Of course, there are no such power who could stop others, who could stop everyone who wants the war. What we can do, at least we could stop spreading aggression, anger, not acceptance around us. So it's what I'm talking every day. Let's just live with more wisdom, with more acceptance, with more love, with more warmth, and thinking about our loved ones, and try to resolve conflicts peacefully and with wisdom. It's what we can do, and we will influence at least on the people whom we communicate to, and it could spread like waves on the water. Slowly, but it could spread. It's the only thing I could imagine. I don't think even killing someone or removing from the surface of the earth will solve the issue, because when you have some leaders, you have what you actually need to have. What I mean, if you let's imagine you are very peaceful, very people full of wisdom, and came someone like Adolf Hitler and say, hey, now you should go with me and destroy all the world, because all the other nations are not like we are nice people, others are bad, we will kill them or enslave, and that's how it would be. We will show that we are great nations. And all people say, come on, what you're talking about? Are you crazy? You need maybe some doctor, maybe some assistants. We are peaceful people, we live with wisdom, we could protect ourselves, but we don't need to go and kill someone because they're not like us, or because they're slightly different, or like we love all the people. And what that person will do? He will do nothing, because no one will listen to him, and maybe did something. But if it comes to the good, of course I'm simplifying maybe too much, but the main idea is the same. If you accept something, you will accept the leader which rules the countries, and even you think, oh, this leader is crazy, it's actually not, because people who live around you don't think so. And if everyone thinks that person is crazy, in good countries people go and say, you are crazy, we don't want you. If 100% of person, or like 95 or 90, if 51% of people in the country say, no, that person is crazy, we don't want him, it's never happen. The only thing happens that they could say, no, that person is crazy, we know, but the other one is worse, more craziest, maybe something like that. Okay, let's switch to some technical topics and questions. I will be transition to my screen, and let's look at OpenAI. Okay, here we are, and that is 12 days of OpenAI. It's the most bright event of the recent days about AI. And for today, I believe, I already sneaked, and they didn't done anything nice today, except they start their audio ChatGPT with audio capabilities over some phone. So they probably have some money. I'm sorry. And they just bought multiple stations and generated multiple agents, and started a free-to-call, toll-free ChatGPT bot, which could reply to you once you are on the go, which is nice, because sometimes I've been in situation when I have cellular network, but it's too but it doesn't provide me any internet connection. I'm sorry. One time it was probably in Montana when I have T-Mobile, and I did some transition between states, and maybe I'm mistaken, but it surely was close to Montana. And because T-Mobile that time didn't have coverage over that area, I was switching to different provider, so it was like a routing inside the country for different provider, and it was fine unless some limit for internet was used up, because I listened to music in good quality, and it says, okay, you don't have any more internet, and I say, what? How it's possible? But it was pretty possible. And in that case, when you don't have any internet, because you couldn't find any network, or you have some base station for cellular network, but they don't have any extensions for 4G, 5G, whatever, any G, and you don't have a contract with Starlink, so you don't have any way to access internet, but you have phone. Of course, you can call on that line and find out some response on some questions. What is nice, most probably, it's have connection to live search, so you can listen to the latest news and so on and so on. Actually, we could try, So ChatGPT should be something like on keypad. We could call 1-800, and let's call it ChatGPT. It would be C H A T and GPT. So 242-8478. And let's try to call.
Hi, I'm ChatGPT, an AI assistant. Just so you know, our conversation may be reviewed for safety. By continuing this call, you agree to OpenAI's terms and privacy policy. So, how can I help you today?
Hello. I want to know what are the most recent news about some conflict between Elon Musk and traders. Do you know something about it?
I'm not sure about any recent conflicts involving Elon Musk and traders. Could you clarify or provide more details?
That can you search for that in internet? I'm say not traders, but Reuters. It's informational agency.
Ah, got it. You're asking about a recent issue involving Elon Musk and Reuters, the news agency. I don't have the latest updates on that. Could you share more about the situation?
No, I expect you to share more about it. Can you search the internet for me?
I can't browse the internet in real time, so I don't have the most current news. But if you have any more context, or if it's a well-known event before my last update in October 2023, I could definitely help with information up to that point.
Okay, thank you. It's what I want to know. Thank you. Have a good day. Okay, so yeah, I was wrong. It actually doesn't support all most recent updates. So it has knowledge up to 2023 October, which is also nice. It could multiple your questions, of course, but not all of them, especially not the most recent. It's something I expect they would have. Maybe they will add it in future, but you see, right now it's just the same version as you could have. I mean, it's not as capable version as you could have even with going to ChatGPT without any account, because as guest you could access at least search and other things for sure. So yeah, but I mean, it's still cool that they added it, because sometimes without any internet you still could receive some answers, and it's good starting point. Also, for different countries, they said it could join with some WhatsApp messenger. You just send them some message and it will reply to you. So, which also nice, but because some countries doesn't have access to ChatGPT yet, so maybe through WhatsApp. But I believe any person in those countries who really want to try, of course, they already tried using multiple capabilities, starting from VPN to any other capabilities. Okay, so what we could see is that there are no exciting news about from ChatGPT today on day 10. We still have 2 days to go, then day 11 and day 12. So let's see. I think the things they did on the day 2, which was Sora. Oh no, on day 4. When they did that? It was project day 3. Okay, I was wrong. Not day 1, not day 2. Oh, it's for 1. Okay, it was for Pro, and everyone say, oh, $200 for what? And they said, okay, we have also Sora, and they say, okay, $200, it's fully fine, we are okay with that. And right now I don't think Sora, so many already lose such big interest in Sora, because it's, it's not, it couldn't prepare dinner for you. It could just generate some video with questionable, with perfectly nice quality of details sometimes, but of course it could have some artifacts, and it couldn't understand you pretty well unless you tell everything you want it to show, and even after that you need to work on the prompt to move it closer to what you really need. So it's still pretty challenging task, but it's fine. So what we have at our plate right now, we stopped on our YouTube AI helper, and we said that we already did multiple things. That thing is not as red as others, because looks like we forgot to commit our code here. Oh, okay, it's code here, and we have YouTube AI helper. Okay, and let's see what we have here. Yeah, looks like we have some changes, and its requirements, and its transcriber Python, and it's the new function which we will use later. I put 75%. Maybe it's too big amount, but I find it work very nice with my long files. Okay, so first of thing, we need to pull the latest changes just to not have any conflicts. It shouldn't, because we updated readme file, and not those, but let's pull. Okay, and now applying smart chunking based on token size for improve assertive. Okay, and we just say let's include all the changes, and let's commit and push. Okay, looks like we did that. Let's quickly verify. So once again, if someone joined recently, we are working on YouTube AI helper. Yeah, maybe we need to think about better name, but right now it's YouTube AI helper. We just committed now, and it has a batch script AI helper bat, at readme file how to use it, but also we have implementation as Python script, and Python script is capable of much more. There are some summary of its capabilities, and basically we have just updated our transcriber, which allow not only transcribe the video but also, or audio in that case, but also run improving transcription using some ChatGPT models with some custom script. We of course included some example script, but if transcription is very long and big, for example for long streams, we support chunking, so we divide it into the chunks based on the maximum possible tokens response of the model in tokens, and we just doing some safe margin of the tokens and divide into multiple tokens using that margin. Improve transcription files. Okay, and here we say split by tokens and max tokens. Okay, so looks good. We have every change we created before, so we could mark it as in better red, maybe in nicer red, like that. So now it's undistinguishable, and for readme file we also could say it as completed. So we have still to work on romantic developer prompt. Maybe we can even include it into our repository just for a use case. We received several recommendations from O1 Pro model how we could improve our code, what we can add, and so on and so on. Some recommendations are pretty nice, but I think we will move in different direction. What I mean, we will try to implement all the features we already have in our full project, web-based project, and is some bright new capabilities we will build into that web-based project. Probably we will update that Python script project just to keep it nice and helpful for others. So it's what we are going to do. So let's look at other things we created for ourselves. For example, number 2 is our helper to provide discussion starters. Okay, you know what? We could try to do very simple things. Okay, so we could try to do the next thing. We have some of our models, GPT-01 and Pro mode. Let's try GPT-01 modem and say hi. Basically, we could even talk in context of our previous code. I'm thinking about adding new functionality. And let's call it okay. The main points would be, let's copy this. Let's copy this. Okay, and here let's say it supports also something like 1. Okay, here Let's just remove that thing. It's actually not super important as of now. Come on. Build a prompt which will take into account all the context. Pa-pa-pam. So let's move it as sub question. It would be point number 3. Okay. So with all of those, what we want to ask, could you help me to build this functionality, starting with working prototype and providing details on how and what to implement next. So I'll use the same prompt here in ChatGPT 01, and I'll use the same prompt here in ChatGPT 01 Pro mode. And let's compare the results. And maybe if it will provide us some code, which not so, yeah, actually it's even try to provide some code. Nice. We could try to execute it and start working on it. Yeah, it was super fast, 6 seconds. And for one Pro mode, it's just crafting, crafting. But it's normally it will provide much more deeper results, not always better, but I mean deeper. Deep thoughts from deep, below a suggested plan of prototype. Overall concepts: produce a set of discussion questions for the next stream by leveraging past stream transcripts, their summaries, and external news, both word news and AI-focused news. Okay. Into upcoming stream agenda. Okay. Proposed steps. Identify last streams. Gather context. Load the full transcript of the previous stream. Load summaries from 5 stream. Okay. Build the prompt. Okay. Okay, LLM process and use prompt processor on new dedicated class to run combined prompt against LLM API. Post and results. Okay. Prototype implementation. Videos. Stream title contains transcript, possibly summary. Okay. Configuration prompt, discussion starters. Okay. Example prompt template. For discussion starters, you are content strategist. You have access to the following context: current stream full transcript, previous 5 stream summaries, important word news, important AI news. Please craft set of questions to help a discussion to the next level. Let's review it in maybe here, because it supports. So reflections or new mentioned in the current and previous stream. Technical questions based on the main technical points from the last stream. Exciting AI news discussion. Okay. Actually, we could do that. Yes. Let's go. Where is my Teams? Not Teams. Where is my Visual Code? And we normally use generic, correct? Romantic, and we use generic prompt. Let's come here and create new file and call it discussion starters srt. Now txt. Let's insert all of those. It would be like that. Okay. What's next? New command mode in main py. Add new command line mode, for example. Generate discussion starters. Oh, I don't like that long name. New model discussion starters. What it support? Get and last stream. Videos, all streams. Pass dir. Okay. All streams sort. Get time. Videos reverse true. All streams n. Load context. Self. Stream self get last and stream. Current stream pam pam. Previous streams. Current transcript pass. Boom boom. Today's news on agreement. AI news. Okay. Return everything. Build prompt. Generate questions. And we generated questions. And in discussion starters, we just print them. Makes sense. So, and all other steps would be the next steps. Makes sense. So, O1, you see, it's did a nice job. I couldn't imagine that job before from any O1, from any GPT models. By the way, I was able to start Llama 3.3 on my virtual machine, which I connected from my work account. But even on that virtual machine, which has a lot of memory, because it doesn't have dedicated GPU, Llama 3.3 works not so fast. You just ask questions and you see how it's produced every word every few seconds. So you need to wait maybe several minutes unless it's provide answer to even simplest questions. Of course, it's not the level of efficiency I expected to, but yeah, most probably it would be the same efficient in processing our task as ChatGPT or something. So if you have very powerful computer, you could try Llama 3.3. It's a really cool model. Okay. Let's see Pro mode. Okay, and in Pro mode we have slightly more code. Step by step overview. The last stream full transcript, summaries of previous 5 streams, current global news and AI related news, output a set of questions that can be posted as comments, potentially provide, logged locally for reference. Okay. Workflow. Identify relevant videos. The script needed at least 6 streams IDs. 1 most recent previous stream, 5 earlier streams. For each of the streams we have a corresponding folder in videos with transcripts and possibly summary. Assemble context. Load the full transcript of the most recent screen txt. Load summaries. Extract, fetch or load global and AI news that can be done integrating a simple web request to a news API or using a static file that manually updated. Start simple. No, I like that thing. Prompt discussion starters. It's the same answer for both models. Run the prompt through LLM using existing prompt processor and new methods to feed assembled context. Okay. Post-processing, save generated questions to prompt txt. Nice. I like more saved versions than inside of console. Okay, add new model to main, discussion starters, recent stream ID, previous streams. The 5 previous stream ID passed to configuration folder. Okay. This mode requires one recent stream takes 5 previous optional post comments directly to YouTube if post comment is provided. Implement a function to load required data. Okay, load stream context. It could be video IDs. So video IDs, load transcript, load news, create a prompt template, so if we have a prompt starters in main, load config from folder, video IDs, context data, load news, prompt file, join, do all the replacement, of course, AI client, create, pam, response, preserve in videos with some output file, and output file is discussion starters txt. And if post comment, then it's something helpful for post comments. Ensure future enhancement. And next step, dynamic retrieval of previous stream. Instead of passing, you could integrate YouTube API to automatically fetch the latest 6 stream. Live stream integration. Okay, improved prompt templating, news automation, error handling and validation. Okay, it's something we could do. I'm sorry. Okay, let me think. So for that type of task, probably we could start with tools, not tools. With test IP and B. Generic. Let's try to execute. Okay, let's do very simple execution. Okay, let's go next. Let's define some prompt for each and see what will do the better. Okay, let's start with O1. Okay, let's do the next. In YouTube updater class, let's declare function get last 6 streams, which should connect to YouTube as usual using token JSON from configuration folder and search for the last 6 videos which are completed live streams. Then it should return video IDs. The next method should be in how we call it, discussion starters class. It should search for our video folder, for all folders, and confirm and find matched streams by using file details txt, where we have YouTube ID equals, if we cannot match a stream, cannot find a folder with file details. Let's confirm that it's called file details. Let's go to videos. It's called output description. Let's look maybe one of the latest. Okay, it's called file details. We will download that folder with downloader class. At the end, we need to have all 6 streams. Please write the code. O1 Pro doesn't know about that class I'm talking because it didn't produce it at all. It's put everything into the main. But let's ask it the same question. Okay, that model already should, I'm sorry, respond something to us. So YouTube update. YouTube update init, scopes, channel ID. Let's see if we have something similar in current YouTube update. We have scopes. So let's first test that definition. Okay, for that let's go not to YouTube helper but here, and we need probably all of those things from here. Oh, maybe, you know, let's put it into separate code. Does it work? Yeah, it's working. And we have, let's just save authenticate YouTube. So and let's try to authenticate YouTube. Authenticate YouTube. It will be service and params. It would be, so let's see what we need from params here. Params, we need token file, we need param scope and client secret file, tokens file, tokens file. And in config client secret file also is here. So let's say one, two, and config right now, they said what? It doesn't have client secret file. Let's see, config. Actually they said it has main folders. Resolve pass. So once again, what it say? Okay. So we trying to understand why it's not liking something we have. Correct? So let's say we want client secret file and config client secret file. The same thing we want with token file. Let's see. Client secret YouTube JSON token file, and in authenticate YouTube params token file, found token file attempting to load. So let's define it params. Just to be defined it's the same way as it expects. And from params we are just with dot token file. Not here. Dict has no attribute client secret file. No. Let's come here and ask very simple questions. To make it object, not dict. Okay, let's try to make it object as it expects. And after we define dictionary, we just say something like that. Okay, now we could receive client secret YouTube and token file, but token file is not at proper location. So let's try to restart the kernel. Maybe just because it has old version of our code. Let's check if it's working. Okay, so now we have in service params client. So let's see what we have. Found token file, local YouTube, configuration generic token, failed to load credentials from, has no attribute scopes. So let's set here scopes as well, like we did before. Oh, it would be scopes. Okay. Okay. So now we went further, and now we need to get last extremes. Oh, channel ID. If we authenticated in YouTube with, let's just try that method. Can we get our channel ID? Okay, let's copy that, because it's something I understand that we could have multiple channels, but so let's see if, yeah, channel we also could get, and then let's just execute the last. And that thing we also don't want to have self, but we will save. So for channel, let's have channel ID equals service. Let's rename it params as well. So here we just couldn't receive channel for some reason. Let's leave it like that. In params we need service, and that's it. So let's call it service. will be services, not services, streams. And let's print them. Okay, again channel ID somewhere. If not channel, okay, we need to execute that thing and now that thing. So we received that number of streams. Fine, so we found that number of streams. Okay, we want to find actually that thing. Authenticate. YouTube get last streams discussion starters, and here we have prepare last 6 streams, and where we need to find them, or in worst case we need to execute them. Sorry. not so complex actually, but I understand that today I'm not so energized to do that things. Okay, let's just try to look into that functionality we have. So maybe we could now go insert it, and the only thing that it's our self. It's one thing and it would be another thing. So right now instead of self we just pass config. Find local streams by width. Ensure directory exists, YouTube updater config, and YouTube updater what it's do, get last 6 streams. We could ask something like that, last video IDs. Okay, we will not do that, but on that space we have to pass it maybe download YouTube video, and it would be not self but config again, config YouTube ID. Okay, and now to work on that, yeah, looks good. We need to we need to have our downloader, and to have our downloader we need to do something like define the downloader like that. Oh, and because it's not defined, probably we don't have it. I see. Let's go again to the main and define it. Okay. no, not here but here, and we don't need argparse, but I just inserted OS just for case. Okay, downloader we have, config we have, so now we probably could prepare last 6 streams, and we could have our config. Streams and downloader. Okay, and if you execute it, it says find local stream by ID, video ID. So here, find local stream by ID, we need also provide config. Okay, so we trying to download something we don't have, but the thing is that we need not only download them, but also we need to transcribe them. So of course it will download some of the streams. So we will have our last 6 streams ready, but hello. But we also need them, transcribe them. Of course, if we execute it on the same computer, it would be not a problem. We always will have all that 6 downloaded streams. Always, I mean, we probably maybe in worst case download 1 stream, but otherwise we will be able to find them. So let's see. Saved with exploring the future of AI insights, file details, downloading. Let's see that streams once again. TNA. Let's go to our channel, live content. Does it include that stream? No. 1HX. 1HX. So that one we found. That one is 337. Okay, that one is GU7. Okay, one that is CX. So that is CCX, and that is 1DPN. So 1DPN, no. Or maybe it's not the latest. Let's refresh. That one is BAG. Okay, that one, and that one is TNA. Nice. And that one we haven't included because we shouldn't include something which is still live. Okay, so we have 6 completed live streams. Okay, now it's started to download in others. So basically it downloaded the streams and put proper file details now. Okay. So we already have code which could find the last extreme and download them, but probably we could continue with other prompts later, because I probably will fall asleep between the stream. Yeah, for some reason I couldn't sleep well during the last days, and now I'm just slightly tired. Okay, so let's review answer from Pro model and see what is the best. O1 did everything we asked. O1 did everything we asked, except we then try to find out if we could work with our channel for which we create token JSON. And yeah, it's also, you see, it's created very nice sync in main Python without a lot of code like O1 Pro before. So I like O1 better in that part for sure. Here, YouTube get last extreme channel ID uses YouTube data API to retrieve discussion starters class, prepare the last that ensures all 6 streams are present. For each video ID, it checks if the corresponding folder, if not found on loader, return list. So, and here is their YouTube AI, and it's get last. So we are looking for part ID, type video, completed date, max result 6. Okay, and video ID append. Okay, if we found less, it will produce warning but return less without any exception. And in discussion starters, we have a file prepares last 6 streams, local folder. We try to find video ID. And if it's none, then we download YouTube and append local folders with that folder path. And how we are trying to find local video folder, mostly it's the same. So we're going through all the folders and look for the file. If file exists, we're getting content for each line. We're looking for a line with YouTube ID, and if we find and everything is matched, we return that folder. So it's produced also pretty similar approach, except main, the discussion starters, it's still big. So, but yeah, it provides some notes, caching, etc. But yeah, nothing extraordinary, except what O1 already did in much faster time. So you see, O1 Pro not always doing the better results than O1, sometimes it's even worse. Okay, and here we are. We mostly completed everything, but of course it took some time, but at least we downloaded the last streams. Probably when we downloading, we need also transcribe them, so maybe we need to do full process except updating YouTube for sure, and full process of course will take a while. But if we will execute the same command once again, ensures all 6 streams exist, of course it will execute immediately, because it immediately finds all 6 folders and return it to us, and we will be ready to query an LLM with our prompt. To prepare to slightly change those approach and put it into our code for that smart AI questions engine, will continue tomorrow. But you see, it's with current power of ChatGPT or O1 models, it's so easy to create code when you could just describe what you need. It's doing mostly everything precisely as you ask. My problems that I asked about update current classes which we had, and it's did, and we need to do some more changes to be able to execute that thing inside of Python notebook, Jupyter notebook. So yeah, it's the only problem we resolved there. So we mostly download everything. Okay, also the good thing, even if you run full process for those files, because those files already, folders for them exist, it shouldn't download them once again, I hope. Okay, let me transition, let me wrap up that stream. As you saw, it mostly downloaded everything we need, but yeah, maybe we need some time, maybe even till end of this week, to build nice AI helper to ask us some nice question and provide some nice summaries, because we still need to integrate that engine with some news engines. I did some investigations. There are not so many cool news agencies, I mean news API, feeds API, which will return real-time news for free. There are a few which have limits, about 100 requests per month. I think we should fit into that limit, which return real-time, but others in free mode return not real-time, but like 12 hours or 24 hours lag or delay, which not work for us, of course. Okay, so I just wish you a good day. I wish you a good time. Hopefully you will deserve for that good time, taking into account everything I told before. Just do your part. Just create some island in that ocean of craziness, some warm, cozy island where acceptance, wisdom, love are kings and queens and where you could live with your loved ones and spread this warm, cozy energy around, like waves, and maybe it will help at the end to slightly change a world. So I'm more than sure that it's what we need to do, everyone, and it's what I'm trying to do in my family as well. I'm trying to go not with path of aggression, but rather with path of acceptance. And sometimes I do some mistakes, but it's important when you understand, okay, I did something wrong. The next day, the next minute, whenever you understand it, go and try to fix all of this, because we have not so much time before that world goes crazy completely. Okay, guys, hopefully we could integrate more and more smart AI things into our programs. Right now, that AI is not crazy AI which want to destroy all humans, but it's still helper, so let's use it help as we can. Okay, guys, I hope you had some good time. Sorry for my sleepiness. I really need to have some rest, which I'll going to do very soon. See you.